All right, this is technically stage 2, but it's actually our last stage for the day. Stage 4, shooter. Setup. Shooter begins seated in chair in bed of truck. Rifle in condition 3. Empty chamber, closed bolt, loaded magazine inserted. Rifle held in lap, pointed downrange safely. At buzzer, shooter will engage all 3 steel targets downrange with 2 hits each. No double taps from over the top of the truck walls. So that means you can't hit one twice in a row. So you'd be like ding, 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 ding. Sweeps. Once you've gotten 2 hits each with no double taps, shooter will move to the barricade in the center of the bay and engage all 3 targets again with 2 hits each, no double taps, through the indicated window with a little circle with a black square around it. Shooter will then move to the final position, which are the barrels, and engage all 3 targets with 2 hits each, no double taps, from under the height of the stick. From what I'm being told from the other squads, this is the one with a 60-second par time that's kind of challenging. Some people aren't making it in time. So you got to be quick, Johnny on the spot.
Stand by. All right, go ahead and show clear. Stand by. Muzzle.
It's good.
Yeah.
More bullets.
Time. All right, show clear. Muzzle.
It's good.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and show clear.
More bullets.
Time. All right, show clear.
Here's what I discovered, and I had seen this in the rest of the match, and I should have acted better on it. This thing will not chamber the first round in a 20-round mag. It just won't. But it's the infallible FAL. Well, it fouled. And I realized that going into the stage, and I downloaded the mag I was going to start with. And it worked. Rack the handle, gun runs perfectly. I did not think about downloading my second magazine. So I got to the very end of the stage. I literally had 1 shot that I needed, and I was out. And when I had a 20-round mag, and when I tried to load it,
it mouthed on me, and I ran out of time.
So you had one mic on the target.
Yep.
So this stage was essentially back of a truck. It was the idea is that, a troop transport. You engage a couple targets, jump out of the truck, so de-ass the truck fast.
Yep.
Get to another position where there's a very small portal, a little bit of cover, shoot from that.
Yep.
And then finally go probably to a seated position or prone, but something under a low stick. And you have to get 18 hits, and you had 60 seconds to do this.
It was tight.
It sounds like a lot of time, but it's not.
Yeah.
18 hits with 3 positions and getting out of a truck is that's tight.
It is. And no double tapping targets. So you had to sweep the target line twice.
So that we like to do that here. It forces sight reacquisition per target. Instead of doing this thing, every time hitting each one once makes us get more value out of only 3 targets downrange.
Right.
So I had no problems.
No, you made that look really smooth and easy.
Well, it is what it is. So I don't know what to say. Well, we'll get to conclusions at the end.
So what I know on this is I need to download all my mags to 19.
Is that a normal FAL thing? I don't recall.
It is not one that I'd been aware of, but
Okay.
it happened to me. I have 3 mags that I've been using in the match, and it happened reliably with all 3 of them.
So it might be this gun. It might be the mags.
It might be a slightly underpowered recoil spring. It could be 3 surplus mags. All having,
Now, when that happened, could you forward assist by pushing on the bolt handle?
I have no forward assist on a FAL.
Oh,
Nope.
of
not
course. Why did I even say it? Forward assist. I knew that.
If this could used as a forward assist, yes, you could have. The way it was malfunctioning, if I'd been able to push the bolt forward, it would have gone plop right into
But
battery.
if you just
and been
ran the
fine.
action a second time,
The problem is when I ran the action a second time, I picked up a new round out of the magazine.
so now you have a double feed.
Then I double fed. Then I pulled the magazine. Then I had to do this. Then I ran out of time. I like reciprocating charging handles personally, and that's part of the reason.
I don't know what to say. As you can imagine, the AK74 had 0 malfunctions, 0 recoil, shoots great. This is the Russians hit a home run with the 74.
Yeah, they really
The 5.45 round's phenomenal. It's accurate. It's flat. It's great. It's a great gun. Absolutely. AKM's cool. 74 is fantastic.
better. Yeah.
It really is. Yep. In every way. I could see why these two have gone head to head for so long, because it is in many ways, in some ways better and in some ways worse, but absolutely the equal of the AR-15. Depending on what your
that's
purpose.
a strong statement.
I think the 74 is.
Okay.
Now you got a little bit less. I guess we're getting into conclusions,
I think we are.
but it's a little. You have less modularity, but the Russians have done a lot to make that better. This is in the 1970s Tronature.
Yep.
But if you could put rails on this, the side optic rail kicks ass.
Right, you don't. Half the reason you want rails are obviated by that side rail.
The gun's durable. I mean, you could beat something with it. You could beat a door open with it. The folding stock's really nice and very solid. The sights are not as good as the AR. There's no doubt about that. It's not as accurate as an AR, but at the distances you're engaging with, it doesn't matter. If you've got an optic on it, you've gotten rid of the sight problem.
Yeah.
I would say with some modernization, and by the way, you'll see this gun in the future again in a more modernized pattern, because you could do that. You can modernize it. I will say that. I think it is cool.
All right.
Yeah.
I think this is obsolete.
It is.
I'm going to have to decide whether I want to keep tinkering with this and see what I can do about improving the trigger substantially.
The trigger's been your biggest problem.
The trigger's definitely the biggest problem. Sights aren't bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. The trigger's pretty awful.
It's funny because I started touching on this earlier in the day, but I'm going to touch on it now. When we did our G3 versus FAL full auto video, the FAL was nicer to shoot. However, now that I've shot the G3 more extensively than I had in the past in terms of match conditions, and I've shot a FAL extensively in matches as well, I know there's problems for a left-hander. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw my head in the G3 ring.
Wow, okay.
I think it's a better rifle.
You're coming out with all sorts of controversial stuff today.
And here's why. The both of them are brutal, tough, rugged battle rifles.
That's very true.
What the G3 has is a couple things. One, the recoil impulse in semi-auto is mild. In full auto, it was worse.
Okay.
It's a violent action. You got to really be strong to run that action. So what?
Strong and right-handed.
Get stronger, right? Yeah. Be right-handed and get stronger.
Just get right-handed.
I know. I'm saying with that in mind.
Yep.
But if it's too hard for you, get stronger. Seriously, just get stronger.
Or put an HK21 charging handle on it.
Which helps. We'll get that in the review. But my experience so far is the G3 is intrinsically more accurate. My FAL was over 4 minute of angle gun. My G3 is sub 2.
We haven't put this on paper, but I'm pretty sure it's around 4 as well.
They all are. The tipping bolt thing is kind of like that.
Yeah.
The FAL has a gas system that ostensibly allows you to modify the gun per whatever craptastic ammo you have. However, the G3 being really just physics and delayed roll or blowback, kind of don't care.
No, it doesn't need any adjustment for anything.
In fact, on my G3, I tried this out at a test. We're going to get this in the review. I fired a magazine that went all the way from 100 grain bullets up to 100 or 200 grain bullets in one magazine.
100 to 200?
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know what? How many malfunctions?
I'm going to guess 0.
0. The gun just ran.
Nice.
So, in the field, if you're just a soldier, nothing to mess with. You just use it. The ammo can be crap, but for the most part, it'll run in the G3. You're not adjusting your gas system. And it works. So,
Something to be said. I really want to like this better.
okay.
It didn't do itself any favors. How do I put that? It was obnoxious today because it didn't work.
It didn't engender itself to you.
That's
So now, where are the benefits, right? I mean, you've got a bolt hold open.
so
That's
you got a bolt hold open. I think that this handles better.
the sights are better.
Sights are better. I think it handles better. Although it is slightly longer, I like the feel of it in the shoulder better.
You know, I don't know that
Honestly, that's kind of about it.
I honestly don't know that it's heavier, but to me it feels heavier.
Well, you also did most of your shooting with a
STG-58.
which has this giant core sampler of a muzzle brake on it.
Yeah, but the G3 for some reason just feels more svelte.
Well, it is shorter and I think lighter.
And if you get into optics, you got a problem.
Yeah, I have a Trilux on this that at some point I will try, but this is a tricky rifle to scope.
Neither this nor the G3 were designed for that sort of thing.
Right.
Not really. I mean, yes, there's
No,
the claw
they really
mount. I get it. There's a claw mount.
Claw
Don't
mount's
comment on
nasty.
that. But that's not a good system.
No.
But a G3 like mine just has a Picatinny rail welded right on here.
Right.
You're not doing that on the
That
FAL.
makes a lot more sense.
You can get
Now-
modified covers.
Right, DSA makes a top cover for this with a rail, and from all I've heard, those work quite well. Maybe I'll do that.
It's just the FAL is actually a little trickier to scope.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. I'm gonna tip in on the G3. I think you have more work to do.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
No. All
Anyway.
right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the series. If you do, please consider checking out our Patreon page. That's what allows us to get interesting, different rifles to be shooting every month here at the Two Gun Matches. So if you can't afford that, we totally get it. Just share the videos with your friends. Check us out on both YouTube and Full 30, and enjoy.
Thanks for watching.